So given those two pressures, the humanitarian pressure to deal with this terrible situation, but on the other hand, the difficult politics of dealing with it, where do you find a solution? Where do we go on this?
I'm very glad that you raised this issue, and you are raising this issue in some business community level. It's important that civil society, business community always keep raising your voices in this very serious humanitarian and human rights and political crisis. I think basically, while we admit and believe that it's been a human tendency during millennia of human history, then people have been migrating for a better opportunity, better future. So you cannot control this. When there is a conflict, when there is oppression, then people are just forced out of their homes by force. It's uncontrollable, so we cannot blame these migrants or refugees. Then who should be blamed? I think this is a lack of political solidarity, lack of political leadership. If we mobilize more political solidarity, more political leadership, I think we can solve this problem. Unfortunately, at the end of my term as Secretary General, this number of refugees and migrants altogether rose to more than 65 million, 65.5 million. So it's the unprecedented high number. That is the first time, the worst time since the end of the Second World War. Only during the time of Second World War had we had that many refugees. I am deeply concerned that the leaders, particularly rich countries' leaders, they are not paying their compassionate leadership. That is why in 2016, that was my last year as Secretary General, I convened two important international conferences. One in May in Istanbul, Turkey. The first time it was a World Humanitarian Summit meeting, where a lot of leaders came. Then in September that year, 2016, I convened the United Nations Summit Conference on refugees and migrants. In these two meetings, we have been committed to have some sort of a United Nations compact and a framework to deal with these issues. I sincerely hope that within this year, under the leadership of my successor, Antonio Guterres, there will be some agreement on United Nations Compact on refugees, United Nations Compact on migration. This will give some good and workable guidelines, political guidelines, so that all the world leaders can work together. Now, as you said, what is more frustrating and concerning is that some leaders are using to stoke nationalism and stoking hatred against these refugees and migrants, or some ethnic, racial issues. This must be totally prohibited. It's not the leadership. Therefore, I'm just asking the world leaders, particularly some European leaders, and even the United States. I have been speaking out to the leaders that please do not erect walls. Do not erect walls among and between the borders. Instead, they should build bridges, construct bridges among people. It's not the issue of money, it's an issue of a political solidarity. If they have a political solidarity. Now,